All right, let's do the thing.
Welcome to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room Podcast. We are here to podcast about anything and everything Star Wars with you. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KILEJOHANSEN.US. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are available at the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KILEJOHANSEN.US. And now, it's time to talk Star Wars. I am Kyle John Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say hello.
Cheerio.
Hello. Hello.
Hello there.
Even though they can't see me. Hello.
Sure they can.
You're
You're
sharing
just
your
seeing-
screen.
You're seeing a screen share, but they see the video too.
Oh,
It's just smaller. It's just a smaller window. Okay. So I had that. All right. So today we're talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi Part 3. That came out on Wednesday, and we've got some Star Wars news to talk about. I have four different things, mostly because we were around, the Star Wars Celebration convention, so there's a lot of news that came out. Then we'll discuss the show and talk about the question of the week. Sound good? Sounds good. So let's push the.
yeah, it sounds good.
News.
Huh? French fries? What?
You answered for me.
Yeah. Time for the news. So, the first article I've got is from StarWars.com, and it is basically news from the panel they had about the new show called Tales of the Jedi. And Tales of the Jedi is a show basically that Favreau and Filoni came up with to, it's basically for the fans. So what they showed, at least during the panel and stuff, was each episode is going to be a backstory on a character, okay? So they showed the backstory of Ahsoka. They show her parents and her as a baby, and talk about what happened and how she, got into the Jedi Order, what happened in her younger life. And they have, so far, they have an episode about Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi's master. Like I said, Ahsoka is one of them. They're supposed to do one on what's his name? The guy that was Palpatine's master. They're supposed to do one on Palpatine, I think. Obi-Wan Kenobi, of course, and a few other things. So what this show is supposed to be is, they're just going to pick some characters, do their backstory, and have a season full of episodes, and then maybe next season they'll have different characters, of course. Which sounds like a pretty cool show, right? It's I think it's all animated though. It's not live action. So I mean that's fine too. I don't care that much whether it's live action or not, especially on a backstory, right? Yeah. Probably easier to tell with animated than it is live action. But so that's the first story. Like I said, it sounds pretty good, right, Scott?
Yep.
Sounds like something we'll be watching. Second story, I have a article that's called "The History of Mace Windu." And in this article, they call it call him one of the most revered Jedi ever to ever live. Which I don't know about that, but and I bring him up because he has this weird horsepower that most Jedi don't have. That's very useful. He has what they call a shatter point, uh, ability. Shatter point is a unique power for the Jedi that allows them to recognize vulnerabilities in objects via the Force and exploit those using the shatter point ability. Mace Windu was able to recognize weaknesses in objects and structures surrounding him and people as well. This unique power made Mace an exceptional and dangerous foe in battle. Besides the shatter point power, he also had the gift of foresight, where he had many glimpses of the future. Envisioning himself with his purple lightsaber, of course. So, which is strange because you would have thought that he would have foreseen that he was going to go out the window or something. But anyway, it says Mace Windu was born on Harun Kal, 72 years before New Hope, Battle of Yavin. As a youngling, Mace was sent to the Jedi Order because of his Force abilities. He went through some rough training patches. He learned, of course, patience, which is one of the biggest things they learn as a Jedi, and to temper his emotions. He had some troubles when he was building his first lightsaber. And his master was Dyslin Meyer, I think is how do you pronounce it? Jedi Master of Dyslin Meyer. And he was able to reach the ranks of Jedi Master, can't talk, allowing him a seat on the Jedi Order Council. It says he was also trained by Master Yoda. He was one of the youngest Jedis to become a master at the age of 28. Which we know Anakin probably became one younger.
Yeah.
We never really got where they officially told him he was a master in any of the shows, really, He was upset that he didn't get to be a master, and he said that was going to happen. And I think in Clone Wars, Ahsoka calls him master. So I don't know. I don't know when it happened. Let's see. He had an interesting mission to the Outer Rim on a planet called Isilon. These attacks took place before the invasion of Naboo. I don't know. That's interesting. Mace was one of the 4 Jedi that closely monitored Anakin Skywalker's training, and was beginning to speculate the Force of the dark side was causing a disruption in the Jedi, and because he had his special abilities, you can see that. Let's see. He's very close with Yoda, and they both had some sort of ability that they could sense the dark side around them. If someone was on the dark side or whatever, they could sense it when they were close to him. Which is weird because they sat in the room with Chancellor Palpatine several times and didn't even know what was going on. Yeah. Anyway, Keep corrupt Chancellor Bay, Mace Windu. He finally betrayed by one of his own, Anakin, blah, blah, blah. Okay, that's basically it. So most of the part of the article is about his special powers, the Shatterpoint thing I was talking about, where he can sense the weaknesses in objects and structures around him, which is kind of interesting. It might give him an ability to sense, and then maybe they could throw a bomb at the weak point or something. I don't know. Third article is about the Bad Batch season 2, and I wanted to say it's not really in this article because this article came out before, but we saw this week that the official start date is September 28th. Is that what it was, Scott?
I think so, yeah.
September 28th is when the Bad Batch season 2 comes out. And they did a trailer. And I guess we could show the trailer here real quick too, but I want to go over a few things first. I want to point out, if you notice, Omega's got a helmet of some sort, or a hat that she's wearing now.
She's all loaded up now.
And also, I think you need to notice that our Bad Batch team, their uniforms look a little different. And they talk about in here that there's a new era coming or whatever, which in the timeline we're in, this is of course before New Hope. So they're talking about the Empire and stuff, but they're also talking about the Alliance, the Rebel Alliance. So let's just play this clip real quick.
You can buy
you hear it fine?
Yeah.
You can have a future. Isn't that what you're after?
We're already free.
We're already free.
Paying attention to what's happening out there.
It is time for a new era. There are others out there who need our help. We'll take all the allies we can get.
It's good.
Let's get to work.
Get to work. Yeah. So that was that. You can barely see it because it's so dark that their clothes are different. I think. Do you remember they had the Empire symbol on their not the Empire, but the whatever it used to be before the Empire.
Yeah.
Republic symbol.
Yeah.
And I think they took those off their uniforms now. But you saw a Wookiee with a lightsaber. That's supposed to be a youngling Wookiee. One of them that we saw in the Clone Wars that was, one of the younglings at the academy or whatever. So supposedly that youngling escaped, right? Because this is all after Order 66. So they escaped. I watched some of the convention stuff, online, which you can, and they had this Michelle Yang, who plays Omega, and she's just funny, You know how we always make fun of the way she talks, the way she says Weka and Omega, or however she says them funny, because she's from New Zealand, is where she's from. But when she talks that way in real life, it's just funny to listen to too, because that her accent is very, very strong.
Yeah.
She says Hunter. Hunter. That dog gonna be all right.
See, that's a new piggy.
Oh, that's the pig nose, huh? All right, and the final article I've got is about during the convention, Kathleen Kennedy said a few things about the Lando Calrissian series that has been talked about for years. And she said that they're still wanting what is his name, Donald Glover to be in that show, but he's been so busy with other things. He's got 2 or 3 shows that he's working on right now. He's got one that's on HBO. What's it say here? I saw it in here a little bit ago. He has a show on FX called Atlanta, and he's working on a show for Amazon Prime called Mr. and Mrs. Smith. The Atlanta show is doing its final season, so that'll free up some of his time. And this Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I don't know if that's a series 2 or not. I think it is. But maybe since he's going to be done with this Atlanta show, he'll have at least some time to start working on the Star Wars series and stuff. She said that the show is going to happen. They're not, purposely postponing it. All they're doing is waiting for Glover to be available and free to start filming. And they said as soon as he's free, they'll start filming and they'll, release it when they can. Right. So I just thought that was some pretty good news too, because I really liked him in the Solo show, and I think he'll be good. The way his mannerisms and stuff, he was just kind of pretty much just like Billy D. Williams.
Yeah.
You can see him in these 2 pictures on my screen. There's Donald Glover, and then there's Billy D. Williams here wearing the same outfit, basically. They almost look the same, pretty much. So, so that's the news. Let me push the news button.
The news.
And screen. Let me make sure I'm sharing computer audio. There we go. So you can't see my screen anymore, right? It's just my video.
It's your video.
All right, so let's do this here.
Are you planning your next trip to Tatooine? Well, come on down to Pelly's Mod and Repair Shop, where our droids will spruce up your wagon. We'll service just about anything from Starfighter Corellian Y1300 freighter to a Vespa hovering scooter. If we don't have the part, we can get it. If you qualify for our special program, we'll provide you with any part our Jawas can get. Well, that's right. Come on down to Pelly's Mod and Repair Shop, where we can store fuel and upgrade your vessel. We're located at Tatooine's Mos Eisley Spaceport, Hangar 35.
So what'd you think of those news articles? You got any other comments about them? Good stuff?
Oh, that'd be cool. I'm excited for Bad Batch.
Yeah, I am too. That's one of my favorite shows right now is Bad Batch. Kenobi is pretty good too, which, really, oh my gosh, we'll get into it here in just a minute with the episode recap and stuff. But this last episode was really good. Mm-hmm. Let's see, what else do we got here on the list before we get into it? Let's do the spoiler thing.
Maggie, go upstairs with Mama.
Spoiler alert. Danger. You're about to be
She
spoiled.
likes her pig.
This is your spoiler alert. We're about to talk candidly and explicitly about some TV shows or movies. If you have not watched them, please fast forward to the appropriate section. You will not be warned again, because you will be spoiled. Feedback. KyleJohansson.us. That's feedback. K-A.
Yeah, so there's feedback. I wanted to kind of bring up the feedback a little bit to kind of get it to people's minds. So, yeah, we need your feedback. We need you to tell us how we're doing. You to comment on what we're doing and what our opinions are. Maybe you've got your own opinions, all that. I wanted to bring this up partly right now because I wanted to share with you, Scott, that it seems like we've got an uptick in people paying attention to our stuff. So we've got more people, it seems like, going to the website. It says here that in the last week we've had 19 different impressions on our site. A good example is these polls that nobody votes on, but they look at them. There's 16 different looks on one and 38 different looks on another one. No voting. Spotify, actually, we've doubled our starts and listeners on Spotify, which to say double is it's not a lot. It's 6 this week.
Yeah.
But that 6 is a lot to me. We've got 4 people that streamed it. And we're now up to 3 followers on Spotify, which is kind of cool. Yeah. And let's see. Of course, nothing on there.
Maggie,
so funny.
You're killing it. You're killing me.
You got it. Get it.
Killing me, Small.
So the live stream that we did, which was an hour and a half video, it says it's got 4 views. I don't know if that's mostly just you and I or what, but the episode before, though, one we did on A New Hope, it has 6 people have viewed it and watched it. Yeah, most of them are upticking. We've got quite a few episodes that have at least 5 different views of one we did for the Phantom Menace has 10 people have viewed it, and 1 person liked it, which I think that was you when you liked it that one time. But 10 different people have at least watched part of that video. So we're kind of picking up on YouTube too. Like I said, I'm not sure how many of those are just you and I, but it's promising. I know I don't go out there and look at the video every day. I maybe look at it when we first publish it or something, but that's about it. But anyway, I think it's helping because the videos are now on our website directly instead of having to go to YouTube first. You can actually play the video on the website. When you get to the episode you want to get to, you just play the video that's there. Like I said, which I think is helping. So that's that. Again, you tell them, Scott, we need their feedback, right?
Feedback.
They got to watch
Good
and
or
listen.
bad.
And
What if I smell on camera?
yeah. How much you love the doggy toys squeaking in the background, all that stuff.
I'm sorry.
Right? No, it's okay. I think it's funny. Yeah, so feedback. I'll tell you one thing that I forgot to do though. We're recording this, but what I forgot to do is I forgot to do the live stream. So I'll just put it up there later, but no big deal. So let's get into this episode, Scott.
Yeah, because I don't think we're set your clock to their live stream. We gotta watch it.
Yeah. No, we haven't. So the show starts out on Mustafar. Darth Vader rises from his back to tank, assembling his machinery and all that stuff. And we see he talks to the third sister. And she tells him that Obi-Wan is alive, and that the Grand Inquisitor has been incapacitated. But she doesn't say he's dead. He just says he's incapacitated, recovering. If you notice that part.
I think I yelled at the screen. No, he's not. He's dead.
Yeah.
Liar.
I don't think he's dead because he dies in Rebels. The Grand Inquisitor dies in Rebels instead of this show. And I actually saw an article about that this week, where the director Deborah Cho said that she said, let's just say that that we're not changing canon, which what that means is in canon the Inquisitor dies in the Rebels instead of in the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. So anyway, blah blah blah, Inquisitor, and Vader threatens her, says, if she doesn't deliver what she promises, that she will not live to regret her failures. So he basically tells her that if she doesn't deliver, he's going to kill her, right? Mm-hmm. So she's got all kinds of motivation to get Obi-Wan, and then we see a scene where Obi-Wan's on a cargo ship and he's meditating. He's trying to talk to his master, Qui-Gon. He says that Vader's coming to get him, and all this stuff is what we hear him mumbling in the background. And he's got Leia with him, and they end up landing on a planet called Mapuzo, which is, of course, occupied by the Galactic Empire. We see plenty of the stormtroopers, doing stuff at different areas and basically strip mining the planet, right? We see them doing some mining. They get off and they're walking to these coordinates that the guy gave him in the previous episode. And they get there, and of course nobody's there. And Leia convinces Obi-Wan to go walking around some more and to walk to the port themselves or something like that. And this is where Obi-Wan tells Leia that they need to come up with a story. That they need to pretend that she is his daughter, and to use fake names. He's a farmer and she's the daughter, and they start walking and get to a road. I think what it is.
This is a story about Obi-Wan. Here, Barry kept his daddy. Then right. One day he was swiping with his lightsaber. That's a food and up to the pound comes bubble and crude.
Exactly. That's funny. That's funny. So they're walking and they come up to a road, and there's a ship or whatever, not a ship, but a car or something, I guess, but it's not a car because it hovers, so it's a hovercraft, let's say. And Obi-Wan doesn't want to flag it down, but Leia does, so they end up flagging it down.
Was.
Yeah, she already was, and Obi-Wan, of course, is suspicious. Leia doesn't understand these things because she is, just a 10-year-old girl. So he's suspicious of this guy, right? Mm-hmm. But they end up getting in the back and riding, and this guy stops and picks up some stormtroopers on the way.
That's the best things to pick up along the way. Some stormtroopers.
Yeah. He picks up 3 of them or something, right? It was 3 or 4.
3 or 4. Yeah. Obi-Wan's like, oh, really? Come on.
Yeah. How much more trouble can we get into? And they ride along for a little while, and they actually get off and leave. They question him a little bit and talk to him, And they
He
they start
slips and
telling
calls her Leia.
they start telling their story about the farmer and the Dell and stuff, and and he slips and he says, "Well, that was." I get confused because we're still
Leia was her
mourning
mom.
my wife's death, and that was her name, and stuff like that. And so they get away with it, and the stormtroopers get off at a different spot.
Yeah.
And this weird looking guy with the fingers for a nose thing.
Yeah.
Says
The
that they're
shrimp
almost
face.
shrimp face. They're almost to the ports or whatever, right? And they get close to it, and Obi-Wan notices that there's a bunch of guards there and just a checkpoint, right?
Yeah, a laser checkpoint.
It's got a laser fence up there. And he's like, no, we need to get out now because we're not going to make it through this checkpoint. And the guy's like, don't worry about it. We'll get through. And he pulls up there anyway and doesn't let him out. And of course we find out that he ends up double crossing Obi-Wan and kind of he sells him out and says, hey, I think there's some people back here you need to look into. So he does that. Let's see. And we find out also from some of the conversation that Obi-Wan has with Leia that this planet used to be a really lush and green world where there was lots of farming and stuff, so there's lots of green plants and stuff, and the Empire's kind of ruined that by doing this strip mining activity. And we also see, while they're walking, Scott, Obi-Wan has a vision and he thinks he sees Anakin out in the distance. The hooded figure.
I thought he saw. I couldn't tell whether it was Anakin or whether it was, his master.
Yeah, when basically when he lifted up his head enough so you could see under the hood, it was definitely Anakin. And it had the glowing eyes too. Anyway, so the next scene, they're calling it "Avoiding the Empire," and we see the third sister and the other Inquisitors in the fortress. Looking at a tabletop that's got basically a screen of the galaxy or whatever. So they're trying to figure out what they're going to do and where they're going. And she comes in and says that she's been able to pinpoint Obi-Wan Kenobi, his location, and demands that they send out these droids, these probe droids. But when she first comes in, that guy with the hat thing, the Inquisitor with the hat thing, he kind of shows that he's the next in line for the Inquisitor position, the Grand Inquisitor position.
That's what he thinks.
I think it's and she says that, and I think it's funny that I think in the previous episodes his voice wasn't doing what he was doing this episode. It had like an echo to it, right? It's like extra deep or something. Like he's changed something to make himself sound more powerful because he thinks he's in charge or something. Blah blah. What happened here? And she demands the probe droids be sent out. And the other Inquisitor that's got the little tentacles for hair, whatever, goes and does that. And we see a little scene where the mechanical things are prepping the probes to be launched.
Yeah, what's from launching tube?
Yeah, from the it goes out like a chimney like thing at the top of the building or whatever.
Like a torpedo, the photon torpedo.
Yeah, And on Mapuzo, um, Leia and Obi-Wan finally get to their rendezvous point. Which we kind of missed that part here, but he gets to the checkpoint, which that's the rendezvous point, and all those guards there. He has a little battle with the guards, and uh, you know, and attacks them, and we get one that falls down off of the tower and gets sliced in half at the gate. He's like, and he falls down on top of the gate. And so there's a fight there, and he gets through the gate, gets the gate disabled, so the lasers aren't up anymore. And what happens next? So they're walking towards the wherever they need to go, and another transport comes up with a bunch of stormtroopers in it, right? And it looks like some sort of captain, some sort of chick captain, right, with a gray helmet or gray hat and jacket on.
Yeah.
And that person, her name is Tala Durith. She's a imperial officer. The troopers get them to get down on their hands and knees and put their hands out far and whatever, so they can see them and stuff. And it looks like the troopers are getting ready to execute them, right? But the next thing we know, Tala shoots all of them from behind and tells Obi-Wan that she is their contact, and they had an incident somewhere else on the planet, and that's why she's late. So she grabs them and gets them on the transport and takes them into town or whatever. And they go in. Remember when they go in and they're like in an alley, and she sees the door she needs to go into across the street.
Yeah.
She goes over and makes sure everything's okay, and then peeks out the door again and waves Obi-Wan to come on.
Yeah.
And they go across the street, making it over to that thing. And inside there's where we see that droid that they've been advertising in the trailer, that we thought was a new kind of droid. And it is. They call it a loader. That's what they call it, right, Scott?
Yeah.
And it doesn't speak. It has no vocal capabilities. But apparently they've reprogrammed it to do more than just maintenance on droids and stuff, right? So he is programmed enough to help out this Tala chick as well. So he's like an assistant, a lookout kind of thing for her. And the droid opens up a secret entrance at the back of the maintenance depot, right? And they go in there, and Obi-Wan realizes that this is like a safe haven for smuggling people, basically, right?
Yeah, that's what she says. Well, they have they have several of these safe
across different planets, right?
Safe houses, safe houses around the galaxy or whatever.
Yeah, and she talks to him about how she joined the Empire because she thought it was the thing to do and all that stuff, and it didn't take too long for her to realize that they weren't what she thought they were. And she started to do this kind of thing, work in the background to rescue Force-sensitive people and Jedi. And that's the point where Obi-Wan's looking around and he finds writing on the wall from Quinlan Quinlan is what he says, but the guy's name's Quinlan Voss. And he was mentioned in the prequels, I think, a couple times, but we never saw him. I don't think. Maybe he might have actually been on the Jedi Council at one time, one of the scenes. But whenever we saw those scenes in those prequels, the Jedi Council and stuff, we barely saw them for very long. So it was like a quick glimpse of people. But I think he was maybe in one of the scenes with the council. But he has his own backstory. He's got a couple series of books and stuff that they've written about him specifically, because he has a struggle with the dark side also. That's right. So they talked about Quinlan in the prequels. He had a special mission, and Obi-Wan was supposed to go meet him at some point, and he never showed up. I think he was with Anakin too, and they ended up doing something else, or something happened, and they had to fight through something or whatever. But they never met up with Quinlan. Anyway, they talk about some things, and Leia asks what it says on the wall, what the reading says, and it's something about I don't have the exact quote here, but it's more like the way to the path is through meditation. You can find everything through meditation, basically, and she asks him what that means, and he says it's the way. And then we see it's starting to get a little dark outside, and Obi-Wan looks like he's being, he's in pain or something. He's got some weird thing going on. He's like, "Oh, what's going on?" Right?
Ill, yeah.
And he has to go look outside the door, and he sees the Inquisitors are there, but he senses something else, and I'm sure he knows what he senses is Darth Vader or Anakin or whatever we want to call him. He senses this disturbance, and it basically drives him crazy, right? He's like, "Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh." And we watch a scene where the Inquisitors come out, stormtroopers start going in, and then eventually we see Vader show up, right? He's walking really slow, doom, 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 doom. And he goes through the street there in the town, and he stops suddenly because he senses something too. He's like, "Oh," and then to draw out what he senses, which we are to believe is Obi-Wan, he starts torturing the villagers, right? He finds one villager that's got the window open to their place, and he pulls them out and up in the air kind of thing. And of course they're screaming, so we're to believe that he's choking them, right? He said that things. And he throws that guy
back against the wall.
Throws him against the wall, right? And a kid comes out to
the kid in the doorway comes out. "You can't do that." And he
snaps his neck right away, doesn't he?
Yeah, just go.
Yeah, and his mother, of course, is like, "Oh my gosh, I'll just stay here then. Thank you."
Yeah.
And one of the funniest things that I saw, and it may not be actually funny, but it was to me. He later on, there's a person sitting outside of their house, and he grabs onto him with the force and starts dragging him down the street while he's walking. I thought that was
that's great.
Funny that he's dragging somebody down the street.
Come with me.
Yeah, come with me, and he eventually lets go, and
I would like to see him juggle some kids or something.
Yeah. And this is what kind of around the time when Obi-Wan tells Tala to get Leia out to go down the tunnel. And they start going down with Obi-Wan, and he's like, "No, I can't. I gotta stay."
I gotta face this.
He basically knows that if he doesn't go that they're going to find her also. They're going to find Leia also. So he goes out to allow her to escape, right?
Mhm.
And again, we see some torturing and stuff. And Tall and Leia in the tunnel a couple times. And she gets like, I don't know, let's say 3/4 of the way. And she's
Mhm.
like, no, I got to go back and help Obi-Wan
Yeah.
because something bad's going to happen. She says, you go ahead. You've got this. There's a guy going to be at the other end of the tunnel that's going to have your, it's going to have your going to be the one that's going to be the pilot, right?
Mhm.
And then we switch to a scene where Obi-Wan's outside of that building looking by some crates at Vader. And then we see Vader doing some torturing or whatever, and he senses Obi-Wan and snaps his head around to look where Obi-Wan was, and he's not there, right?
Yeah.
And that of course makes him mad. Arr. And that's when they switch to Obi-Wan's in this quarry, basically waiting for Vader to come find him, right? And he gets really panicky when he starts to see Vader, right?
Oh yeah.
I'm sure he's afraid he's gonna die, right?
Yeah. You're bigger
So
than I expected.
Yeah, and I think it's funny, that Obi-Wan's running all over the place trying to get away from him, but Vader's just walking slowly. Doom, doom, doom. Of course, you know, being that his legs are half mechanical, he probably has to walk slowly, right?
Yeah.
So Obi-Wan draws out his lightsaber, um, and then goes and runs some more, and then he basically runs into Vader, and Vader he has to block him with his lightsaber, and they have a little battle there, and of course Vader is piling on him hard, and he says, "Obi-Wan, you've become weak in your old age," something like that. You become weak in your old age, man. Um, something. In James Earl, whatever his name is, his voice, right? Earl James, whatever that guy's name is.
Earl Jones.
There you go, Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones.
James Earl Jones. Yes, he of course is the voice of Vader again. And I wonder about that. Is that really him, or have they synthesized his voice now too? Kind of like what they've started doing with Luke Skywalker. I bet James Earl Jones is still he's doing Arby's commercials, so he's still probably able to do Darth Vader's voice, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. So Obi-Wan runs away. Tall is on her way there. Tala is on her way there. And Obi-Wan gets into he basically backs himself into an area where he can't get out. And Vader confronts him again. And this time he knocks over a crate of some of the stuff they've been mining, right? It falls over all over the ground. And he kind of taunts Obi-Wan to come closer and stuff to him. And once Obi-Wan is in the view of these crystals or whatever, Vader lights up his lightsaber and lights the field on fire with this stuff, right? He says, "Now you're going to suffer more than I did." Whoa!
Well, for that, he dumps the thing and he lifts Obi-Wan up at the same time by his neck, and he's choking Obi-Wan. and then throws him into the fire.
Yep, you're right. He does. He throws him into the fire.
It's just like turnabout's fair play.
Exactly. I forgot about the lifting up part, but he does throw him in there, and you can see that Vader's kind of drawing him deeper and deeper into the fire because it looks like Obi-Wan's struggling, right? But he's going into the fire deeper and deeper. And he ignites it, and we see Vader just kind of watching, and then stormtroopers come up behind Darth Vader, and somehow he stops the fire, right? And orders the troopers to go get him. And that's when we see Tala shoot at a couple of stormtroopers, right?
Yeah.
And Vader orders them to go get her, or she doesn't know it's a her, I guess, but he says to go get whoever that is. And he starts the fire back up again, right?
Yeah.
And lights Kenobi on fire again. And this is where Vader says, your pain has only begun. And we see in the background, actually, I don't know if you caught it well enough, but that robot that was in the maintenance thing comes out and pulls Obi-Wan out of the fire.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he's kind of rescuing her, and Tala is watching this and gets away, I think, and helps the droid, and they escape. And then we switch to a scene where Leia comes to the end of the tunnel, and she stops, right? She stops, right? She's like, "Oh, I don't know what's going to happen." And we hear the third sister saying, "It's okay, come closer."
Closer.
Kind of like the Wicked Witch in the Wizard of Oz, wasn't it? Come closer, my pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And Leia senses the dangers and turns to run, and basically that's the where the credits roll, right?
Yeah.
We don't get to find out if she escapes or not. Blah blah blah.
What happened? Next week can't come fast enough.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I thought this was a really good show. I really liked the scenes with Vader in it myself.
Oh yeah.
I don't know, the stuff in the town was kind of weird because it almost was. It didn't feel like a town to me. It felt more like a set, honestly. But that's just me being critical. But because I mean, there wasn't anything going on around there. There was just people, and I don't know. It was just weird. It felt weird to me.
Could have been just some empire town, a company town where they work so hard they just crash.
That's true. You're right.
And
they did look like they're
that there's a curfew probably or something like that.
Yeah, it could be. You're right. And they didn't look like they were very. They looked like the people were kind of poor, right? They were wearing just rags and.
Yeah, well, if they're working for the empire, they're downtrodden and only given what they need.
What they need. They need to survive and do their job.
Yeah, produce for the empire.
Exactly. So
it's just like a reference going back to like in the mining towns. Right.
Yep.
In the coal miner daughter or whatever, the company come in, set up the town, the town store and all that. They give out the money goes back to the company because the company owns the store.
Owns the town. Yeah, everything in the town.
Owns the town. So
exactly.
And there's no getting out of there.
Yeah, you try to get out and you get shot at or arrested, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me push this button real quick. Whoops. So again, we want the feedbacks. Tell us what you think. Tell us what you thought of the episode. Tell us how wrong we were, how right we were. And you came up with one question of the week, which was, "Will we see Darth Vader again?" And I didn't use that as the official question of the week because I think it's kind of obvious. I think he's going to be back at least once more in the show. And so I picked a question on how bad is Obi-Wan burned? Is he going to be recovering for quite a while? Is he going to finally get Leia back and be in isolation for a while recovering? We don't know. And
was he Obi-Wan fried?
It's
you walk by the space for Obi-Wan fried chicken.
There you go. Colonel Sanders Obi-Wan fried chicken.
That's right.
That's right. Yeah. So that's the question. And I, honestly, he was in there for a while, but it looked like most everything I could see that it was just burning his clothing and stuff. I'm sure it was hot, of course, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure he got some blisters and some, maybe some 3rd-degree burns or whatever. Which 3rd-degree is where the burn turns black and you pretty much scar when you recover, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure he got some, but it didn't look like it was extremely bad, right? We don't know, right? We don't know.
Yeah.
So I put several things in there. I put to be funny.
Will Leia live to see another day? What's going to happen on the next episode? And the Star Wars turn.
Exactly. As the Star Wars turns, as the Death Star turns, maybe that's better.
Okay, good.
Let's see. Yeah, so I put on the question. Well, shit, that's not what I wanted.
Oh, what?
You heard me.
Oh, what?
SD polls. So I put, was Obi-Wan burnt really bad? Was he? He doesn't look burnt in Star Wars: New Hope, so he can't be burnt that bad. Is it mostly just blisters? Was he burnt not at all? Only a few burns. That's on our poll. And of course, last week we asked the question if the Grand Inquisitor was really dead. Because we still don't know. We heard the third sister this week say that he's been incapacitated, but she didn't say he was dead, so we don't know for sure. And like I said, we heard the director say that they're not going to break canon, which the Inquisitor actually dies at a different time in canon. So that's that. Any other comments about anything, Scott?
No.
No.
Nope.
Next week is, of course.
You just hate me, and when I watch it on Wednesday morning, don't you?
Yeah, I do. Because you always want to talk about it.
No, I just sent small texts and stuff. Oh my god!
I know.
Holy shit!
Yeah. That's what I would do too, though. That's exactly what I would do too. Yeah. So next week, again on Wednesday, and of course Scott's going to torment me before I actually watch it.
I work
Again,
nights, so he works from home at day. So
yeah. So I try to watch it during. I try to sneak some time during the day at work to watch it, but usually that doesn't happen because everybody's trying to pull me every direction. Like you know how it is when you work too, Scott. They pull you everywhere.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a good employee, right? If you're a bad employee that goes and hides somewhere, then sure your day is nice and easy. yeah, so next week's episode Wednesday, so that'll be what are they calling them? They're calling them parts. So that'll be part 4, and we're supposed to have 6. So that means we have 3 left, including the one that's going to happen on Wednesday. Well, I was going to say something about that because I also read an article that's kind of confirming something that Ewan McGregor let slip at the Star Wars convention.
Yeah. He said you're ready for 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 or something.
Yeah, and we don't know if that means season 2 or if that means they're going to extend season 1 to 10 episodes. Because originally I heard that the show was a one and done show. It wasn't going to be a series, right? It was just a telling of this little timeline. So who knows if it's going to be season 2 or they're going to go on. We know that Andor starts August 31st. So there's a gap there, end of June. So we have the whole month of July with possibly no Star Wars. And then Andor, and then we just found out about September is when the Bad Batch starts. And I would say that those two are going to overlap a little bit because Andor has 12 episodes in the first season, and they're going to do 12 more episodes for season 2. And they're in the middle of filming season 2 right now, is what I heard. And they plan to do at least a season 3 also of Andor. That's what they've committed to so far. They said that Andor could be up to 5 seasons. But depending on how popular it is, it may only be 3. We don't know. So anyway, that's all that's going on. Most of that stuff I just talked about is rumor, so it's nothing's official on all of it. But anything else you saw? You didn't see anything, did you?
No.
You want me to play the outro?
Sure.
Are we done? We're done?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for listening to the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast. Please visit our website where you can play current and past episodes. That's https://RABR KyleJohansson.us. That's RABR.KyleJohansen.us. On the left-hand side is a navigation menu. You can use this to learn how to load the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room podcast on your Android or Apple phone and tablet. And we have direct links to our podcast on Apple and Google Podcasts. Please participate by connecting to our social media, answering questions of the week, or submitting feedback directly from the site. Again, all of these are on the Rebel Alliance Briefing Room website at RABR.KyleJohansen.us. This podcast in no way is approved, sponsored, or owned by Lucasfilms Ltd, Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. All opinions are solely owned by Kyle and or Scott, and in no way express the views or opinions of their past or present employers. Views and opinions are not supported or restricted by Lucasfilms Ltd, Disney, Disney Plus, or any of its subsidiaries. Any rebroadcast, reproduction, or other use of this podcast and its affiliate sites without consent of Super Duper Podcast Network and its host is prohibited. I am Kyle Johansson, and this is Andrew Scott Sutton. Say goodbye now.
Bye-bye now.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Please visit our website and participate in our feedbacks. Feedbacks. Yeah,
I feel like I'm on American Idol. Call
us now. Vote for who you want to win.
Vote.
Yeah, YouTube lets you do comments too, so go up there and do that. And see you later. So let me stop the recording.